Welcome, Stephanie. Thank you so much for coming on this episode of Conversations on Living Your Purpose. And I just love connecting with other coaches. I love finding out what coaches are doing. We're both kind of in the same space. And so I know that whatever you talk about today is also going to appeal to the people who follow me and listen to me because we're both in the midlife space, right? And
Awesome.
I'm
Yeah.
52. You're also 52, right? So we
Yes.
were born in the same year and we have the same background and we both are Gen X, which I just love our generation. But I want to find out a little bit about what you do and just have a really great conversation about your purpose and how it came about. And I know that you're in the weight loss space. You've been a
Mhm.
weight loss coach for 10 years. So what first pulled you into this work?
Well, thank you, Jen, for having me. This is always exciting. I love sharing my story with other coaches, and us Gen X gals are about as tough as they come. But what really got me started was I was my own first client. I didn't even know it. I went on a health journey, gosh, 16 years ago. Um, got I started feeling really terrible. I was overweight. I felt winded all the time. I actually was on a field trip with my daughter, my oldest daughter, who was about to be 30, when she was in like the fifth grade, and we had to walk down 5 flights of stairs. And I realized after that trip that I did not love the way I felt. So I knew I needed to make some changes. I was not a sedentary person, but somehow my life had just kind of caught up with me. So I went on my own health journey. I lost 80 pounds. I became
Wow.
super aware of the foods I was eating and how they made my body feel. And at the time, I worked in the car business, and I actually I was in the car business for 24 years. I was a service advisor. So when you bring your car in to get service, I was the person that you talk to.
Awesome.
And I was on my feet all day long. I wasn't somebody that sat still, but I didn't have great habits. So realizing that I needed to take better care of myself because I realized I've got to model a better lifestyle for my children. And so I went on this kind of new discovery, figuring out who I was. I lost the weight. It took me about a year and a half. And then as I started kind of embracing this new lifestyle of eating better, being more active, at the age of 39, I convinced my best friend to run a 5K for my 40th birthday. So she was willing, and we trained through the winter. My birthday's in March. So on my 40th birthday, we ran our very first 5K. And
Woohoo!
it was
That's awesome.
well, she didn't think so because we crossed the finish line and she was like, thank goodness that's over. And for me, I was like, I don't think it's over. And that actually kind of springboarded me into an 8-year running career that in this newfound body I had no idea that I could be a runner, let alone a runner at 40. I went back to school at 42 and became a certified health and life coach. And it has just evolved ever since then. I keep learning and growing and understanding, like with each new level of education, I'm also learning more about who I am and who I'm not. And understanding that, midlife doesn't have to be so difficult. It can actually be an opportunity for expansion and growth or a complete 180. Like you get to choose how this shows up. And after being a single mom and understanding, like, I never went to college after high school. So I got married really young. And unfortunately, I got divorced young and raised my girls, but I wanted them to know that if there was something they wanted, they could go after it no matter what.
Yeah, you touched on something that is so important. that you found out what you want, but you found out also what you didn't want. Because I love that. I just finished a brain health certification course with Dr. Amen, and he has this thing called the one page miracle. And in it, he has all of these different categories, and you write down what you want. And it's amazing how many people get that piece of paper and they're like, I don't know. I don't want this. I don't want that. And it's like, no, 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 no. Go back to what do you want? But I think that that is a really important step for women who are, sometimes you might go in a direction and you're like, oh no, I don't want that. And that's okay. That's not failure. That's just learning what is for you and what isn't. And sometimes you have to try things and be like, okay, I'm going to now switch and go pivot and go this way a little bit, and
That's
giving yourself
literally,
that permission.
yes. It's literally what I went through. So in 2018, I told my boss, my 24-year career, I said, I'm gonna retire. I didn't tell him I was quitting. I said I'm retiring the car business. So I went to him in October and said, December will be it for me. I'm going to go all in on my coaching business. I had a few clients, and he really tried to convince me to stay for 6 more months because his son was graduating high school. And I said, no, no, I'm good. I'm good. And I never stood up for myself in that way, but I just felt so certain that this was the path I needed to be on, and literally quit my job with zero business plan and no strategy. And after 6 months, I was like, savings is dwindling. This is not generating the kind of income I thought it was going to. And I needed to figure out what I was going to do. So I had promised my other half at the time, sweetest man on the planet. He has been by my side for 22 years, helping me navigate what this looks like. But I said, I can't go back to the car business. I have to follow this path. I said, I don't know where it's going, but I know exactly what I don't want. And so I explored different avenues. I worked in a spa, I worked in a gym, and I kept getting closer. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I was like, these just aren't quite right. Like they were pieces of the puzzle, but I was still missing these big components. And that was when I ended up actually working with a chiropractor. And I've been with her for 3.5 years. And helping with regulating the nervous system was always part of my coaching. And so
Wow.
now I have more of that. And when it all came together, and her big vision and my big vision were so similar. We both wanted wellness center with multiple modalities that really focused on women and families' health. I never look at life as win or lose. I look at it as win or learn.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a different perspective than just going, well, I didn't get what I wanted, but what did I learn?
That it's who you're in the room with.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because it's like how you have encouragement and support. And I feel like what happens, and I don't think this is just a midlife thing, but I think it's almost like a cultural thing, is that maybe even as women's, we're told you can do everything alone. You
Yeah.
can do everything yourself. And it's like, no, why did we get that thought in our head? It's like everything is more fun in community.
I'm a happier version of myself because I know that the work I'm doing matters, and I get to do it in a way now that reaches even more people. So, having the ability to help other people get and stay healthy, show them ways that they can improve not only their mind, body, and soul, but also have better mental health. It's just encouraging. And day in and day out, all of the patients that I get to work with, all of the clients I get to work with, the one thing I hear over and over again is, I didn't know I could feel this good.
Oh,
And
that's
I'm like, it kind of hurts my heart a little bit. But that comes from a place of chronic pain or chronic illness, or just the idea that, like you said, and it may have been a feminist movement that, women can do it on their own, but we're not designed to.
yeah.
We're not designed to be alone in the world.
Mhm.
Community has always been part of it, right? They say it takes a village. Well, that's what it used to be.
Yeah.
Villages raised families, and we were never meant to do it all by ourselves. Even though, as a proud card-carrying member of Gen X, I absolutely think I can, but
Yeah, of course.
I don't have to. You know, I can raise my
Exactly.
hand and be like, okay, I need support here. And it's giving yourself permission. And we'll get into this a little bit later, I'm sure, but I have a new program called Permission to Thrive. But it's
Ooh,
all based on giving yourself permission to either do something or let go of something or be willing to change
yeah.
kind of on the fly. And
Mhm.
it's this possibility that we don't have to be held back anymore. We can do whatever we want. And I think the older we get, the more ambitious we become, or the less filters we have. I'm not sure
Yeah.
which one trumps the other one, but I know it's a combination
I
of both.
I feel it too.
If I'm not happy, then I'm the only one that gets to decide what makes me happy.
Yeah.
And, we don't control what happens out in the world. The universe is going to happen, and nobody's getting out of this life alive. So,
Yeah.
why don't we stop putting off the things that we want to do? Why don't we do them?
Exactly. I
Why?
know.
What are we waiting for?
Yeah, exactly. Another thing that you said that I really, really loved, because I actually just got off a call this morning about I have a course coming up that's all about trust. My piece
Mm,
is self-trust. So when you were talking about that, it's trusting what you hear that you're supposed to do. That's the self-trust piece. And if you can't trust yourself, I feel like if there's any women listening that are like, wait, where have I not been trusting myself? I
mhm.
knew I should have done this like 5 years ago and I haven't done it yet. It's like, okay, I hope that we can give them some bravery to be like, do it now. Like, just do it now. Important. If you wouldn't have listened to yourself, you wouldn't have ended up where you are now. You might
I
have
know.
let your boss talk you into staying and never left the car business because I'm sure you were great at it.
I was like, I was top advisor year after year after year, and that we're meant to do things. And I just think that you're right. It's self-trust, but I also believe that regret is something I don't want to experience anymore. I regret a lot. I regret, not doing things back then, but the best thing you can do is do something about it now.
Yeah.
Which is why I went skydiving at 50. Like,
Oh my gosh. That's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. And if anybody ever tells you that they would never jump out of a perfectly good airplane, those aren't the ones they use for skydiving. They're not
Yeah.
perfectly good airplanes. They're terrible. It was like one of those things that I said I always wished I'd done it. And
Yeah.
the regret of not going to me was too strong.
Yeah. Um, okay, so getting back to the weight stuff, why does weight feel harder in midlife? Not just physically, but also
Mm.
emotionally.
I love this question because a lot of women that I work with will be like, I don't get it. In my 20s, I could do XYZ and drop weight just like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like what happens, not just hormones, but also we've put everybody else first, right? We put our kids first. We put our spouses and partners first. We put jobs first. We put aging parents before us. We have this, and I'm going to use the word martyr, or people pleasing aspect to our personality sometimes. And we really want everybody else to be taken care of. And we think it's a nurturing effect. And that's fine. But if you've ever reached into your cabinet and picked up an empty glass and tried to share what was in that glass,
Mhm.
you're not going to get very far.
Yeah.
So, what I really want women to understand is that sometimes you need to get up to baseline before your body is ready to shed weight. So, being stuck in fight or flight, this was a big part of working with the chiropractor is I got to see exactly what that does and I have tools now that I can measure that. So when my patients come in, they actually have we have scans that we can do and then I can help them understand steps that they can take better care of themselves. Most of the women I work with are literally trying to function on 4 or 5 hours of sleep. And when your nervous system is so stuck in fight or flight, it's shutting off anything that is non-essential. Weight loss is never going to happen. So whether
Mhm.
you are counting calories or, looking at deficits, macros, doesn't matter. Your brain still thinks you're being chased by that bear, and it's turned all of that off and it has gone into survival mode. And we have to unwind that before anything else is going to happen. So understanding in midlife, when we start to slow down a little bit, and maybe our children don't need us as much as they used to. And we might be approaching empty nest. Now, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, I have time for myself. But if you're burned out, all you are going to do is just crash. So, giving yourself permission to allow the self-care, allow yourself to get the sleep that you need. Nutrition is so important because so many of us are living by old diet rules,
Mhm.
and what worked in our 20s doesn't work in our 40s and 50s and 60s. We need new strategies. So I think it's really a matter of like changing not only what you think, but how you behave. And then know that those old things, there's nothing wrong with you. Your strategies just aren't working anymore. You just need a new
Yeah.
plan.
Having downtime, where a lot of people don't even allow themselves to have downtime. They think it's virtuous that they don't sit down in a day. And it's like,
Yes.
that's not necessarily virtuous, because then you are keeping your body in that fight or flight. We're already dealing with the menopause and the cortisol and the hormones.
I think sometimes what happens is we were raised that nobody got rest until all the work was done.
Yeah.
And I think that we've carried that through as this badge of honor, right? That,
Mhm.
oh, I'm busy. I get up at 6 a.m. and I literally collapse at 11 p.m.
Mhm.
Why?
I know. I know.
And
I often think like if I were to ever write a book, it would be called Busyness is Not a Virtue.
yes, I
Because
love that.
the more plates you carry, the more productive you are, the more, valuable you are, whatever.
Yeah, guess what they're not putting on your tombstone when you die? She
Yeah.
was busy. Like,
Yeah.
no. A friend of mine last night sent me a AI prompt that said, um, like getting into the computer, like, I don't know this person, but based on what you know about the person who owned this computer, what
Oh,
can
yeah.
you tell me about them? And oh my gosh,
Did
like
you do it?
I did. It made me cry because
Oh,
it was like she's always trying to help people, and I'm always trying to show people how to be confident because I teach confidence before you lose the weight. Because
yeah.
most of us think that when we hit the goal, whatever the goal is, that's when we get the
Then
confidence.
you get to be confident.
But that's not, nobody comes to your
Mhm.
door and says, congratulations, you hit your goal. Here's your confidence.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't happen. So it
Yeah.
comes from within. So I realized really quickly that this busyness wasn't going to cut it. And if you don't believe me, get sick and then figure out like, oh, I have to dial back.
Yeah.
Nobody's coming to rescue me. This
Yeah.
all falls on my shoulders. And if you've never delegated before or never found white space on your calendar,
Mm.
then if you get sick or injured or incapacitated in any way, you have no plan,
Yeah.
no backup. And I don't want that to be the way that we live our lives. You know,
Hmm.
we're not meant to carry this weight all by ourselves. But when we develop strong community, when we develop white space and being still and being okay with nothing, we don't get bored, we get inquisitive. And I
Yeah.
think that we start to unwind, and that's where a lot of my clients struggle with emotional eating. And
Hmm.
it's that late night, everybody is done, right? The house is quiet, the kids have gone to bed, nobody needs me, the emails have stopped pinging. And in order to relax and unwind, we feel, and this was me for years, oh, I need a snack. Or
Hmm.
I don't know what to do with my hands because I've never given myself a moment to rest in the last 25 years. And now I don't know what to do. I'm so exhausted. My brain and my body are telling me two different things. My brain says, we should get a snack so we can have me time. My
Hmm.
body says, I would love to sleep. That would be great.
Yeah.
And I was fighting those forces. So I would snack. I was not hungry. I didn't need the food. And I was literally watching TV that was recorded, like Netflix. So it's
Hmm.
like, it wasn't like this was something that I couldn't come back to. And unwinding that shifted everything for me, like
Hmm.
16 years ago. And it was definitely like this big aha moment. It wasn't even Netflix back then, it was probably DVDs. But it helped me understand that I was using food to give myself permission to relax.
Yeah,
Like, oh, what if I just give myself permission to relax, to go to
exactly.
bed, to sleep? We do it with kids.
Yeah.
We make children take naps because we know how cranky they get.
Hmm.
I think if we did that more as adults, we'd be happier.
Yeah.
We would definitely be better tempered and we would not have this guilt of, oh, I didn't send out that last email. Like we've never been more tuned in, turned on, and connected in our
Mhm.
lives.
Yeah.
And so the generations before us never experienced this. We're the first generation going through this. So we're navigating it for everybody else. And I think we're really trying to now set better boundaries for
Hmm.
the generations coming after us, that it's okay to be unplugged and disconnected. And still, you're not going to get bored. You're just going to get curious.
Yeah. And I want to say something that you touched on that you did that I think is something that a lot of people our age might not even have made the connection yet. And that was when you said your brain told you one thing, but your body told you something else. And I want to say this, I don't think that a lot of people realize they have a brain and a body talking to them.
Right.
I think they only hear their brain. And
Mhm.
I don't think that people even know how to connect their thoughts and their feelings and find a balance in there. And I think that's a skill in itself that you touched on.
It does. And I think when we can let those two voices speak and give them equal airtime,
Mhm.
it doesn't feel like a battle anymore. And
Yeah.
I can remember exactly where I was when I was like, oh my gosh, this nighttime snacking habit was developed in a time of my life that I needed safety. It was there to protect me when I needed it. I don't need it anymore.
Wow.
What if I let it go? And
Mm.
that was one of the key things that helped me understand, oh, my body can tell me that I'm tired and it's okay to go to sleep. And then
Yeah.
my brain, only because a belief is just a thought you've had for a really long time, isn't
Mhm.
always still true. It can
Yep.
change,
Hmm.
right?
That's
And
good. Yeah.
and
That's
that's
really
what
good.
really helped me understand, oh, just because this survival habit kept me safe 30 years ago, I don't need it anymore. I'm not in that same situation. I'm in a much better place. So now I can take care of myself where I am today and go forward with that. So that was a really big eye-opening experience that helped me hear both of those things without judgment.
How much of a woman's identity gets tied to her body over time? And like what have you found in that arena?
I think in what most women believe is 100%. I think women feel like they are judged by their appearance. And
Mhm.
society has told us for years. You and I grew up when heroin chic was actually a style, which for anybody listening, if you are not familiar with the term heroin chic, please look it up. It's terrible. You
Mhm.
literally look like you're emaciated. But we were always taught that thin was healthy and you needed to weigh a certain amount or wear a certain size, or your appearance was the book, the cover of the book, right?
Yeah.
And what do we always tell our children? Don't judge a book by its cover. But yet we judge ourselves by that day in and day out. A lot of my clients, when I ask them, why is weight loss important? What is your why? And 98% of them will tell me, I want to look in the mirror and be confident in what I see. I want to feel good in the skin I'm in. And I said, why don't you now? And the
Hmm.
list of reasons don't differ a whole lot. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way my clothes fit. I don't have stamina. I want to get down on the floor with my kids or my grandkids. And I feel like that there's a part of that that's true. But what the eye sees is what's creating these thoughts, is they're seeing themselves in the mirror and the thoughts are just brutal. They're
Yeah.
so negative, and it could have come from hearing it from an adult in their childhood, or it could just be something that they've developed. And I
Mhm.
think that if we stop tying our identity to our size, like if we all looked exactly alike, we would then have to be judged by our personality, our accomplishments, maybe our compassion. There's so many other ways that we can be identified, that if we can disconnect it and you can love who you are today, I feel like more people would be willing to change what they look like without feeling like it's tied to who they are.
Where you talked about the confidence has to come first,
Hmm.
because if you become the person who does the things to stay in shape, then it's the process. It's more about you build your confidence so that you feel good and not have it based on what the reflection says in the mirror, because over time, if you're doing the habits, you'll have the body you want to have or whatever, because the habits will be there that support it. But it's not that with the end in mind is not just solely the weight, it's the health, or it's the stamina, or the things that are a
Exactly.
little bit more positive. Than just having it be about, I want to be this certain size, or
Right. Because,
whatever.
body compositions differ from human being to human being. And so I'm like, okay, I come from multiple generations of active women. And so there's no reason that I can't be active too. And so I did retire running because of a knee injury, but I walk and I hike and I bike and I lift weights. And I know that I'm doing everything that I can to keep me healthy so that I build up enough muscle to protect my bones, which also helps me from that shrinking. So
Hmm.
I want to be as tall and uncompressed as possible. So chiropractic plays such a huge part in that also. But really, at the end of the day, most of people just want to feel good in their skin and they want to be able to look in the mirror and love who they see. So I encourage them to speak to the child in them because they wouldn't say mean things to a child.
Mm. Yeah, that's good.
And a
Yeah.
lot of us, some of our habits stemmed from childhood where we
Mhm.
might not have gotten the support we needed. So if we can tap on that, it helps bring the judgment down a little bit. And I think it lowers the temperature around the criticism.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Um,
This creating permission to thrive. But I think you need to learn to tell yourself the truth. And if there's something you really want, be honest about it. It's okay to want it. And
mhm.
you're not taking something from anybody else if you want something. There's still plenty to go around.
Yeah.
And then honor your boundaries. What are you willing to do or not do to get what you want?
Mhm.
And then
Boundaries are really hard for women.
it is. We
Yeah.
have a hard time saying no or
Mhm.
yes. We are yes women all the way, right? We have a people pleasing part of us that we want everybody around us to be happy.
Yeah.
I mean, when we're children, they give us babies to take care of. We're toddlers taking care of babies. Like, oh, here's your baby doll. Go take care of your baby doll.
Yeah.
And boys are taught to, go to war, wrestle, fight, drive trucks. And we're over here with easy bake ovens and babies that pee their pants. Like, and yet when we grow up and we want to do something different, everybody's like, whoa, stay in your lane.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where reclaiming your power becomes such an important piece of that.
Hmm.
And then you get to embody and envision what that looks like. When I went back to school, I had no idea where I was going to end up. But every piece of this journey has been interesting. And I've been open to whatever shows up. Like, I explored working in different avenues and again, figured out pretty quickly what I didn't want. And that helped me set better boundaries about what I would and wouldn't do. And then you start to envision this version of yourself that is doing things differently. And when you start to take those small action steps, all of a sudden now you're like, oh, that wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Or that actually was really awesome. And I've taken courses and I've read books and I have gone to seminars. And it's like everything I learn just helps me be that version of myself who gets up every day and I put on the clothes I love that fit my body today. And I'm active and I look in the mirror and I'm like, she's confident.
Yeah.
I joke that I was a wannabe rock star. I just don't have any musical talent. So singing in a band probably wasn't going to be high on my list because I couldn't play an instrument. I had no singing ability, but right now, talking to other women and showing them what confidence looks like has been a bigger impact than being a rock star ever could have been.
Mhm.
So I feel like I've still found my stage. I just have a different way to show women how to give themselves permission to do what they want to do because they are allowed to think bigger, speak louder, want what they want because you're not taking it away from anybody else.
It is kind of a really nice stage of life because you're not so busy. Like I was busy raising kids too. And then
Yeah,
once the kids don't really need you so much anymore, you can focus some of that energy back on yourself and like, what do you want to do to learn and grow, and what new people do you want to meet now?
right.
It's so fun, like, and every new person you meet opens you up to a totally different world of like, hey, this is what they like, and you're like, okay, let's go try it, although I don't think I would ever try jumping out of an airplane, but like you've exposed me to that, and it's like
Yeah. So give yourself permission to do something, try something, or even just think something differently,
yeah.
and then see what happens. And I promise you, nobody's going to feel any worse. You don't even have to tell anybody, but
Mm.
practice it. And the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. And if you want to go take a dance class or, learn to speak another language, the barriers are so low, the technology today, like
Yeah.
go for it. And I
Oh,
said, I'm in. I've wanted to go to Greece and Italy and Turkey. And I said, I absolutely refuse to let any more time go by without planning for it. So
yeah.
I went to my financial advisor and I said, okay, new plan. We have travel on the books now.
Great.
So we've
That's
already started planning for it.
yeah.
And yeah, okay, so maybe it takes a year and a half. But in the big scheme of things, 18 months is
Mhm.
nothing.
What would you say to the woman who feels disconnected from herself right now? Because obviously you can't give yourself permission if you don't even feel connected. And so what would you say in that situation?
You're not broken.
Mm.
If you feel disconnected, it's because you've let go of who you thought you should be, and you don't give yourself the ability to dream about who you want to be. So, if that's truly the case, if you feel disconnected, I think spending some time alone, being still, maybe journaling, going for a walk, talking with a friend. I think at first it's better done alone.
Mhm.
Um, and then ask yourself a couple of questions. Like, if if anything were possible, what would I do? If I could give myself permission to dream, wish, whatever that looks like, what would I want? And
Mhm.
if I could have it, what would it look like? I want you to like almost immerse yourself in the feeling. What does it look like? What does it smell like? Is it warm? Is it cold? Are you traveling? Are you building a legacy? Are you starting a business? Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Give yourself the ability to feel it, think it, and embrace it. And then if you really want to do it, go for it.
Mhm.
I have never met somebody that didn't go for something, even if they didn't achieve it, that said, I'm really sorry I went for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not once.
Mm-mm.
And so disconnected can just mean that you're not living your true path or you're not following your true path. And so a lot of people think, oh, I need guidance. Maybe, or do you just need to say it out loud? If you want to get in a hot air balloon and travel across the country, go for it.
Mhm.
Or do the research and see, is this something that is available to me? There's so many opportunities for women, especially in midlife, because again, we've been living for everybody else for
Mhm.
years. And women are becoming louder voices in bigger rooms. So the possibilities are out there. And I think if more of us stood up and said, I'm not going to take this anymore, I think there'd be quite a movement.
I just can't recall who said this, but it says, if all the women of the world would come together for the sake of mankind, it would be a force the world has never known.
Ooh,
And
that
that's
gives
so
me
good.
chills. That is so good.
I know. It's like it's one of my favorite things.
And for all the women out there that are listening, you've survived all of your bad days. You have 100% survived all of your bad days. Just imagine if you showed up and did what you wanted to do and loved it
Yeah.
without fear of judgment, without fear of failure. Just be willing to try. Be willing to suck at it at first, right?
Yeah.
None of us came out of the gate knowing what we know today. Think about the leading ladies. And
Mm-hmm.
these women are doing the things that we all think, oh, wouldn't it be nice? I hate those words. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
it must be nice that you can go do this. No, I work for it.
Yeah.
I don't get on a cruise ship because it must be nice. I get
Mm-hmm.
on a cruise ship because I pay for it.
Yeah.
I work 3.5 days a week because I can.
Mm-hmm.
And when you give yourself permission to do that and you build the self-trust, like you said, what can't you do?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there is some fear of the judgment because if you go for it, ooh, what are people gonna think?
Right?
You know, that's that's a hard one. But then
And
that's
what if
why I
they,
say it's
yeah,
so important to get into the rooms of the other people that are doing the things because they
yeah,
get it. They
yeah.
know. And yeah,
What if they looked at you and said, good for you?
yeah,
I shifted my perspective years ago because I always felt like that, like, oh, everybody else has what I want. No, good
yeah,
for them. And that's what kind of made me reach out years ago and say, she's doing something that I want a piece of. And if I can figure out what to do next, then
mhm,
I can take action.
yeah,
And I have reached out and I've gotten bolder and bolder and bolder as I've aged. And I just love it because I didn't have a lot of a filter to start with, and I have a lot less of one now. But now I'm not afraid to say, hey, I would love to have a conversation with you. I was at an event in March, an International Women's Day event, and there was a speaker there that gave an amazing keynote. And I walked up to her afterwards and I said, can I just say, your keynote was mind blowing. She was a jujitsu instructor And her keynote came from that part of her world. She's also an author. And I loved all of the pictures were from her jujitsu studio. And she still put that into a talk about confidence and perseverance. And I was like, this is so awesome. So we're trying to get together just to have coffee so that I can be in a room with her and like ask her questions. She's like, absolutely.
That's awesome.
And so find someone who's done what you want and then
Yeah.
find a way to speak to them
Yeah, exactly.
because it's probably not as hard as you think.
Yeah. So to do that, what is one belief that the woman would need to let go of?
The belief she needs to let go of is that she couldn't possibly do that.
Hmm.
Oh, everybody else can do that. I can't do that.
Yeah.
You absolutely can. And
Yeah.
let go of the judgment because the judgment's more from yourself than it is from others.
Mm.
You might be worried what other people think, but are they really thinking about you?
Yeah.
No, everybody's over here tuning in to WIIFM. What's in it for me?
Yeah.
They're
That's
not
the
worried.
greatest way to say it.
They're not worried about what you're doing, right? Like
Yeah.
you're
Totally.
on the West Coast, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
So if I'm over here on the East Coast and I decide to write a book, well, does that mean you can't write a book? No. And if I go skydiving and you get in a hot air balloon, the air still exists. Like,
Yeah.
why do we think that?
Yeah.
So if we can let go of this, I'm either not going to be good at it. Well, none of us were good at it, and we're all walking upright. Like, had our
Mhm.
parents given up on us walking as toddlers, none of us would be upright.
Yeah.
And if we didn't believe it was possible, like we encourage our kids,
Mm.
right? We encourage people around us. Why can't we look in the mirror and encourage ourselves?
I know sometimes I swear I am more encouraging to other people than I even am myself.
Yep.
And it's like, no, I should be my biggest cheerleader. What does living in a life you love
Mm.
really mean in midlife?
Your life should, you should wake up and be so excited. Like maybe not jumping for joy that you woke up, but thinking to yourself, I've built the life I truly love.
Mhm.
And it's funny because I bought new sheets recently and I completely changed the color of my bedding. And this sounds weird, but every night when I pull my sheets back and I see these buttery sheets, I feel like I'm in an upscale hotel. Like I completely changed the color of my bedroom. And for me, it feels luxurious. I
Mhm.
bought new satin pillowcases, but it's the little things that I do for myself every single day that I make my bed every morning. I've been doing it for years. I love that. But it makes me feel like I'm in control of what's happening next. And so I know at the end of the day, when I pull that comforter back and those luxurious sheets are there, I'm like, this is the day I got to live.
Yeah.
And even if I'm not feeling well or if I don't have a lot planned, I'm like, I'm still doing all the things that I love. And I can sit there at the end of the day and find, I like to do three things, but a lot of days there's more than that. What went well?
Mhm.
What went well today? You know, I don't take for granted, like, I might not wake up tomorrow. I could go to the store and get hit by a bus. But at the end of the day, I just want to know that number one, I made somebody else smile because that's, I don't know. To me, it warms my heart to make somebody laugh or make somebody smile. Somebody heard something I said and it made an impact. I've
Mhm.
always felt like if I can leave an impact on someone else for them to do something they want to do, that creates a ripple effect that can't be stopped. That's
Yeah.
force.
Mhm.
That's huge. And did I inspire somebody to want to be a little bit better? Those three things, if I can say at the end of the day, I've worked on some version of that, then I just know I'm going to crawl into those luxurious sheets. I'm going to put my head down on my pillow and my life is perfect. Did everything
Yeah.
go the way I wanted to? Probably not.
Yeah.
But if that those three things happen, and I work on it all the time, I
Hmm.
really do. And every day that I do, it makes me feel like I've given someone else another reason to want to go after it. I want more people, I want more women to go
Yeah.
out there and do the things they want to do. Because if we all stood up and we linked arms and we put our minds to it, what could happen?
I know. I know, and I'll just add, like living in a life you love, like you said, it takes intentionality. It's not just going to happen. You have to really be intentional about knowing what you want and going out there and getting it for yourself because no one's going to show up and be like, "Here's your perfect life,
Yeah,
Stephanie."
if we
You
could
have to
Instacart
make it
confidence,
happen.
we would, but we can't.
Exactly. This has been such a great conversation. I mean, the time has just flown by.
I know. Well, thank you so much. It's been great. I
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
all of your wisdom. And I can't wait to hear what people think when they're watching this, like what stood out to them. Because, I truly believe that when somebody lands on a conversation and they listen to it, they're going to hear the little nugget that they needed to hear. And so I would love for people to comment on the video and say, like, what was the little nugget that you got from this conversation? And then, Stephanie, tell people how to find you. How do they get in touch with you? How do they follow you? That kind of thing.
So, my company is Essential Soul Coaching. So, the website is essentialsoulcoaching.com. Essential Soul Coach across social media platforms. Um, the podcast I have is called More Than a Hot Flash, Midlife Unfiltered, and that's on Apple and Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And you can email me, Stephanie at essentialsoulcoaching.com.
Awesome. Yeah, I would highly recommend her podcast too because I've been listening to it and I just love it. It feels like you're driving in the car with a girlfriend who's just like chatting with you over the phone or something. But it's so motivational, but encouraging
Yeah.
and just kind of forces you to take that next step or think, what is my next step and how can I live more fully into the person that I am meant to be in the world. So yeah, thank you for all the work that you do in your podcast. I know sometimes it's like, it's a lot to do a podcast. It's a lot more
It's
work than people think
It's
it is.
more work than I anticipated. I'm almost a year in, and holy cow, but I love it. And
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that about the conversational piece because that's how I wanted it to feel. I'll create talking points, but half the time I'm just, literally sharing my thoughts, or if I had a conversation with somebody and something came up. So I always want it to be real
Mhm.
and hopefully somebody pulls a nugget out of there. And I'd love to ask your listeners if you could give yourself permission to do one thing, what would it be?
That's so good. Oh, that's so good. It just gave me goosebumps because I just think, oh, I want more women to answer that for themselves too.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And go after it.
Yeah.
Go
We
after
we
it.
do spend a lot of time taking care of others. It's time to take care of ourselves.
Awesome. Thank you.